So South Africa, CSA, whatever you want to say, they have now released the teams for the domestic season, and it's our opportunity now to talk about it. And I'm going to go through every single team in the Division One. We'll see if there's enough time to get to Division Two as well. But we're going to go through the different teams, go through actually the different squads is what we should say because the squads were released. So we'll get an opportunity to see who's going to be playing in the domestic teams this season, who has been contracted to the different teams, and which Proteas players will are the contracted players that are part of each particular franchise. So that's what we're going to be talking about on today's show. We obviously got that press release earlier today, but before we get going, before we get started, before we start chatting about this particular topic, I first need you guys to do a couple of things for me. Please, if you're new to this channel and you haven't quite yet, please subscribe to the channel. Please click that notification bell for all future videos, please. Very, very important that you do so. Also, smash the like button, comment, and share, and do all of those things. And become a patron today as well if you want to help South Africa cricket grow, if you want to help us promote South African cricket, and you want to get involved and help our company as well grow, then get involved with the Patreon account. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also, go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your regular updates. We are working hard on the next issue of the Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. The next issue will be out tomorrow, so please stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's topic. And let's discuss the domestic squads that were released today. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid and this is my co-host Werner. And today we're going to be talking about South Africa's domestic squads. It was released today, so we're going to look at each individual team and discuss it, of course. I know it's also deadline day in the Premier League today, so we're going to be competing with a lot of other live streamers that are actually kind of live right now across the world at the moment. So I do understand that. So thank you for the guys that have tuned in and stayed loyal to Cricket Fanatics Magazine, even when there's other things happening online at the moment. Yeah, so I don't like the fact that we just sold one of our future young stars. Anyway, that depresses me. Anyway, let's not talk about that because football or soccer is nothing that Werner likes. So we're not going to speak about that on the show today. Let's get into it. First and foremost, let me show you the Division 1 teams. I think it's a great place to start. Now, I've split it up, obviously, in two slides because I couldn't fit them all in one slide. So I'm going to start here with this Division 1 squad, and it's Western Province that was released, that were given to us at least first. We've got Kyle Verreynne, George Linder, Tony Dezorzi, Nandre Berger, Jonathan Bird, Mohamed Vali, Kyle Simmons, Wayne Bonnell, Bjorn Hendricks, Daniel Smith, Dane Patterson, Ethan Cunningham. Very interesting one there. Eddie Moore, Avima Majima, Chipo Moreke, and Michlali Mbongwana. Now, the only one that has really been added there that's new, Werner, is Eddie Moore, and I think obviously Bjorn Hendricks was part of the squad last year, but didn't play as many games as they would have liked. But Eddie Moore is a new signing into that group. What's your thoughts on the Cobra squad? Let's do it like that and talk about each individual. Sorry, it's not the Cobras anymore; it's the VP Blitz. Let's talk about the VP Blitz's squad.
We can't talk about the Cobras. The Cobras are a thing of the past. Yeah, and it's looking pretty decent. I think Eddie Moore will be a great addition to their side, especially in the 4-day series. He should be a solid top order option for them. I think even Cunningham is a bit of a surprise for me, just because he didn't have a particularly good under 19 World Cup, and then to get a contract immediately is quite surprising. And I don't think Gavin Kaplan got a contract, if I'm not mistaken. So it's interesting that Ethan Cunningham gets a spot ahead of somebody like a Gavin Kaplan who played for them last season. Unless he
Mm.
moved, I'm unsure about that.
Yeah, I don't know yet until we obviously get to the next round of teams. That's when we probably see where he has moved, if he has moved. But it does seem like they are, because of that extra experience guy at the top of the order now in Eddie Moore. It seems to be that that's his spot now. And of course, he's going to be partnered up by either Daniel Smith or one of the other guys, or maybe even Ethan Cunningham will get a couple of games and John O'Bird too. So they've got a very young, exciting squad over there of very good top order batters. Let's hope that maybe one of them are the answers to the questions that South Africa have been looking for. But let's move on to the next one, and that's the Hollywood Bets Dolphins. Interesting team over here as well. Otniel Bartman, Darren de Pavlon. What I noticed here, though, Werner, is that there hasn't been a lot of the major changes in each squad. It's kind of similar teams to last season. So as you can see over here as well, with regards to the Hollywood Bets Dolphins, we have Marcus Ackerman, Ethan Bosch, Ruan Swart, Sarel Evia, Liefen Tanzi, John Smart, Stando Dini, Bryce Parsons, Grant Rudolphson, Jason Smith, Kai Zondo, Sapong Ditole, Prenelin Sobrayan, and Andile Simalani. Again, a very balanced side. A lot of all rounders over here, Werner.
Yeah, it definitely is a balanced side. I think John Smart is going to bring a lot of experience to the side, so that should be very exciting for them to have that experience coming in. Also, obviously bringing the left arm spin plus the batting. I think it's a good call bringing Andile Similane into the squad as well. I think he has a lot of potential, a lot of talent to play that type of Andile Pechlequayo role. So now they have two Andiles to go at it. So should be interesting and exciting to see Lifa and Tanzi as well. I'm hoping that this season that Lifa and Gerald Kutsia can both stay fit for an entire season. That is a
Injury
challenge in
free, yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Hopefully they stay injury free. I think that's been the biggest thing for them and their development has been injuries. And Nandre Berger as well, if you're thinking of the Western Province Blitz team. I mean, it would have been also an opportunity for him to come through the system, actually being left arm seamer, bowling 140. It was a perfect season last season for him to maybe break through onto the international stage. And then he had a huge, massive injury. They put him out for the entire season, actually. So it's very unfortunate that we lose some of our players to injuries. But yeah, a very good blend of experience and youngsters, and a hell of a lot of all-rounders the Dolphins have. So I think they have a team that is very adaptable to all conditions in South Africa, which is very important to have in a squad, of course, and different formats. Then we go on to the next one as well. Then we've got Northwest Dragons, and as you can see over here as well, they show which players are contracted by the Proteas. And as you can see, Western Province had nothing. Dolphins had Andile Pekelkwai, David Miller, Keshav Maharaj, and Keegan Peterson. So we are moving on now to the next one, and that is Northwest Dragons. Northwest Dragons is a team that I feel underachieved last season. I thought that they would do a lot better than they actually did, but they seem to struggle in every single format that they played. But they have a lot of talent in their team. As you can see, Delano Potgieter, Nicky van den Berg, sorry, someone that's a spelling mistake. Lesego Senokwane. Some of these players I don't really know much about, of course. I'm still starting to get to know them and to see them play more in domestic cricket. Senoran Mutasami is here. We do know a lot about Tumelo Tlokwe, Eldred Hawken, Wesley Marshall, Landuize Zuma, Shailen Pillay, which interesting that he has an opportunity also to show what he's capable of. Kevin Manguru, Ronaldo Maya, Kanya, yes, Kanya Kotani, who I think is another very talented player. I'm hoping that he can also start to come through. Caleb Saleka, Dwan Janssen, Grant Mokwena, and Heino Kun. So another team. It seems like a lot of these teams are going for the balance of experience and youth. But it's good to see over there. So, and I know I don't want to bring up the race factor, but it's nice to see a lot of players of color at the Northwest team coming through the system. And that's also good too, because it will also give more opportunities for more people to come through the system and put up their hands. What's your thought on the Northwest team? I mean, when Delano Potgieter, I think, who's a player that we've always spoken about very fondly on this channel, myself and you, you and myself, you and I, whatever you're gonna say. So the way we've always spoken highly of him on this channel, and I always thought that moving to somewhere where they're going to look at him as being the one of the star players could only be a good thing for him. And also his relationship with a guy like Wesley Marshall is another person I think is someone that can really put up his hand this season as well. So, what's your thoughts on the Northwest team?
Yeah, that's looking pretty decent. I think you said they struggled in all the formats. They actually, the one format that they did do pretty well in was the List A, the One Day Cup. I think they
Oh
ended
yes, yeah.
third last. I think they ended third last season, so they did pretty well there. But they did struggle a lot in the Red Bull format, especially the long format. So it'll be interesting to see if they can change that around. I'm very excited about Caleb Seleka, also sort of under 19 player, still very young. Yeah, both pretty quick wrist spin, leg spin. So yeah, some potential there. Duan Janssen now is getting some experience at the CPL. He's looked pretty good so far there in the West Indies, so it can only do his confidence the world of good, and the experience he's gaining will help him a lot as well. But overall, pretty balanced side. If you look at the white ball formats, I think Delano Potgieter, this could be a very big season for him if he does well in this tournament. If he does get I'm sure he will get a spot in the T20 league as well coming up. It's going to be vital for him and his development. And I think obviously he will play in the 20 over, the domestic 20 over tournament, and that should put him in good state leading up to the league next year. But overall, pretty balanced side. I think there are some holes there in the middle that they need to fill. I'm not sure exactly how they will go. It's always a difficult thing to predict beforehand. But it's not a bad squad. I'll say that.
Mm. Didn't Dwan Janssen also win the 60 now recently with Diego Brevis and Chris Gale in it?
Yes,
Yeah.
he
So
won the
like,
60 with Brevis and with obviously then all the West Indians. So
yeah,
now I think Dwayne Pretorius has now joined them at St. Kitts and Nevis for the CPL itself. And I think
okay, cool.
yesterday he bowled pretty well. Obviously, I don't think they're actually broadcasting it here in South Africa,
Mm,
so I don't think we're going to see anything. But he bowled 4 overs, only conceded 18 runs, and he had 2 dropped
mm.
catches off his bowling. So they were
Yeah,
very impressed with me. Actually bowled a maiden, which doesn't happen a lot in
interesting.
a 20 over
Yeah,
competition.
he's been getting a lot of exposure. Yeah, he's even played for the Mumbai Indians as well in that tournament, in that little competition that they had, or series that they had in England. As a, I think it was in England, yes, yes, as a curtain raiser. I don't know curtain raiser what it was for. It was for sponsors, whatever. But they sent like an invitational Mumbai Indians team to go play in England. So that was something nice to see that he's getting a lot of exposure. We also know that he got an opportunity to go be dead bowler in the IPL as well. So he's getting a lot of international exposure, despite the fact that he's not necessarily as famous as his brother, you could say in inverted commas, from a Janssen namesake standpoint. Okay, let's move on from that. We've got obviously Dwayne Pretorius as the Northwest national contracted player, and then we've got the Knights. Before we get to the last couple of teams, we've got Budaza over here, we've got Kutsia over here, we've got Kruger, we've got Snyman, Michal Pretorius, Van Bouillon, we've got Van Tonda here, Alfred Motoa. You know, actually exactly the same team as last season I see over here. Van Heerden, Patrick Botha, Aubrey Swanepoel, Isaac Tigale, Pungose, Jason Rubenheimer. We've got Gian Kluter and Matthew Kleinfeld. So it is a very and again another team that struggled last season. Obviously in the T20 competition, knockout competition, they did exceptionally well by winning it. But then they kind of fell off. Verno, I mean, we need those guys. Some of those guys in that team are very important to the future of South African cricket. We're hoping that they can have a very good season.
Yeah, I think one of the main problems, especially in the white ball format, is they don't have attacking spinners in their side. They're like heavily reliant
Yeah.
on Snyman's off spinners. They need a proper spinner in that side. And since they've let Sean von Berg go, it's been a struggle for them in that regard, and they don't have somebody to bowl tight overs in the middle or to maybe bowl in the power play like a Bjorn Fortuin would do, or a George Linder would do, or some of those guys, or a Imran Manak might do. So I think that's where a lot of their shortcomings are. It'll be interesting to see how they will go. I think Berdine moved as well. They've now
Yeah.
brought in Jan Kluter from the Titans, has now come to them. Maybe that does make a bit of an impact for them. Hopefully, it goes well. Um, I am excited by Mpenguze. Um, I've seen very little of him, but I do love his action, and he does look like he has a bit of pace on him. So it'll be interesting to see how he does go. I always like to see the new guys coming through some exciting talent.
Yeah, especially pace. You're always looking for the next guys that are going to excite us with pace. We need as many pace bowlers actually in in our domestic scene as possible. Actually, I'm happy to see there's how many fast 140 plus bowlers we have currently in the domestic scene here coming through. It's really good to see that, because that's going to get us our best preparation for like Test cricket. I would say, guys that can swing their ball in, getting it off the pitch and moving, letting it move off the pitch. I'm hoping that they add those skills to the game as well, so that we can get some movement, etc. But um, we have noticed no Riley so in that squad
Yeah.
at the nights.
It's interesting
So
because
that's
they
interesting.
picked Riley Rousseau for the Proteas with the knowledge that he said he's making himself available for domestic cricket, but now he's not contracted. So it'll be interesting to see how that does play out. I also think it's going to be a massive season for Reynald van Tonder because he had a
Hmm.
fantastic start his first few seasons. Then he had a very poor season actually by his standards last season. So it feels like this needs to be his comeback season where he kicks into gear again, finds his rhythm again. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. We all know that. But we generally say that we'd love to see him score big runs outside of Bloom,
Yeah.
and it's still the case right now. And I mean, there's spots to fight for in that middle order for the Proteas. So it's going to be important not just for him, for all the batters
Yeah.
I'm thinking specifically in the 4-day format. That middle
Hmm.
order, there are spots open still there. There's no I can't say that people have actually solidified their spots at this point with Markram struggling and Rassi struggling. Obviously, Rassi now has an injury. I know Ryan Rickelton is the next in line, and Zondo is there as well, but obviously they're only now just starting their international careers. So there are spots to play for. So I think it's a very big season coming up, especially for guys in the middle order. I think the openers might be unmovable for the foreseeable future. Maybe for the next year at least, you probably won't see any moves being done there. But if you are a number 3, 4, 5 batter domestically, this is your time to shine.
Hmm. And what makes it interesting as well is that Reiner van Toorn in his first season actually was played as an opener for the Knights and came in and started off really well. And then second season he batted at number 3 and did really well again. And then third season, you could say it's actually only one full season, because he kind of played like a half a season in the first time around. So it's good to see that we have so many young talented players. We can see right through the teams that have been mentioned so far. But let's move on to the big guns. You could call them the big guns. I would probably pronounce it like that, or explain it like that. But you've got the Titans first up over here. Lazard Williams, Tianis de Brain, Tsele, Halim, Dala, Brandt, Subs. I don't know if he's going to be captain again. Bosch, Pangiso, Amani, Pillay, Harmer. It's good to see him still back into the team. Klassen, spelled wrong. This was sent in to me from Cricket South Africa. I should have actually edited it and checked it. I always just trust that they will get the names right at least.
Never
Um,
trust them. Never ever.
so so I need to rather double check it. I was in a rush to put this graphic together. Deva Previs, Donovan Ferreira. Good to see he has a contract now. Very good to see that. Obviously, we broke the news, not broke the news, but we spoke about this news previously. I think Werner actually told us about it live on the show. And yeah, it's good to see that he has a proper contract now, because we had him on the show when he spoke about not having a contract. Okay, then we got Musa Wenkosi Twala, and then national contracts is Quentin de Kock, Dean Alga, Lungani, Lungin Giti, Aiden Markram, and Shamsi as our contracted players. Titans,
God. Not even
I,
blame Cricket South Africa that one.
that I can't even blame us against South Africa. Lugani, I know. Okay, so from your perspective, I don't think there's too much to talk about the Titans really. Standing chat. You can hear the nerves coming through that United's playing tonight. I'm already starting to think about it, and I'm seeing tweets come through. So yeah, I mean, defending champions in the 4-day competition. I mean, the
They
Titans.
made
You
the
don't really
final in
need to
both the
talk.
other competitions as well.
Yeah, and they made the final in both other competitions as well, which is interesting. I would like to actually see what happens with the Titans, especially with Deva Brevis. The fact that he's mentioned over there in that group is very positive to me, because that at least means I'm hoping that means that he's going to be playing 4-day cricket.
Yeah, we'd
So I
all
hope
love
that
to
he's
see
that.
that.
I want to
You know what
see him bat all day.
yeah, I'd love to see that because at this stage he's just playing T20s and he's almost
Just
playing
swing.
recklessly. Almost, he's not. He's obviously doesn't have much time, but he hasn't quite found the pace to go at yet. So obviously still very young, and he'll find his feet. But I'd love to see him play some 4-day cricket at least this year. Maybe I don't know, October, November in that region somewhere along the line. Hopefully, you'll get some
Yeah.
time to get play 4-day cricket. I think
So
with
it's like
the
he's going for those Hollywood shots all the time. You
yeah,
know.
it is like that. I think with Jordan Herman, who I was very impressed with last season. He only played a few games for the Titans, but he was excellent. With him moving down to the Warriors, I think that's opened a spot up potentially for Dewald Brevis to play in the 4-day format. Potentially, we'll see if he does
Mm,
play. It'll be interesting to see who their keeper will be now, because obviously Klute has now moved to the Knights. So it'll be interesting to see who will keep. I
Klassen,
think,
Klassen,
yeah, if Klaassen is available, Klassen will,
Klassen
Klassen
will play.
will, Klassen will do his keepy things. If he isn't available, then it'd probably be Twala. Actually, from what I
Yeah.
heard, he's a pretty tidy keeper,
Okay.
and a good prospect with the bat as well. So it'll be
Okay.
interesting to see. I know Donovan Ferreira can technically keep as well, but I don't think you want the guy who's sort of a part-time keeper in the Red Bull format
Mm,
at least.
mm. Yeah, I don't know too much about Twala, so I'm hoping that I'll get to see him play and see what he's about. I think it's also a very big season for, hopefully, a very big season for Diane Halim. It was very strange what happened to him last season, because after being the Titans player of the year, then going to barely seeing game time in the following season was a shock for a lot of people. So hopefully he does get to see a lot more game time than he did at before, because the reason he left in the first place was because he wasn't getting game time at Western Province Blitz, because of the experience of Roddy Kleinfeld, and Jason Smith was there too, and Vernon Philander was there. So it was very difficult for him to slot into that all-rounder spot at the Cobras at the time. And then he moved over to the Titans, and he had a brilliant season. Like I said, player of the season for the Titans, and then just nothing the following season almost. So I'm hoping that he gets an opportunity this time around as well. I hope to
Before
see
we
him play.
move on, another player who's now done very well in the 60 was Corbin Bosch. And so last season, I was quite impressed with how he's come through with the bat. I think he's improved his batting immensely.
Yes,
He still has a lot to do with the ball. He has the pace. He just needs a bit more control. I
control.
think he's still a bit expensive in the T20 format, especially. He needs a little bit more control, but I've been impressed with the way he has developed, and obviously, the Royals franchise has now backed him. He's been in the IPL sort of squad for the Royals and now at the CPL. And
Mm,
obviously, he's been picked as the uncapped player for the Power Royals. So I think a lot of expectation is now on him to perform. And I think I expect him to step up big time for the Titans.
mm. And I always thought that the 4-day arena or playing enough 4-day cricket would help him with his control. But when I watch him play in 4-day cricket as well, it does seem like you'll get a couple of amazing deliveries where he beats the bat, beats the ball, sometimes beats the stumps, and then a couple of balls will just go like wayward, and he loses a little bit control in matches. It's almost like, I don't know if it's a intensity thing. I don't know what it is, because he's a very fit lad. Like, he's a very fit boy. He's quick, and yeah, he's an unbelievable talent. We know about him obviously since since that World Cup, of course, that we know about the under 19 World Cup. We That's when he really gave us some excellent performances and put his name on the, I would basically say, on the radar of many fans through that. But I agree with you 100%. I think controlling his game is something he needs to learn. You will see it. You definitely see it when he plays 4-day cricket. Um, you'd think those type of things can be ironed out, and he can fix those things, because I think if he gets it right in 4-day, I think that will help him a hell of a lot in his T20 game, because I think that's all he basically needs, is to get that ability to be able to control where the ball's on a pitch. Is a skill that all bowlers wish they had. Exactly where that ball is going to pitch and what it's going to do. And I think that's something that he can learn, and it needs to be added to his game, of course. Maybe a variation or two, you could say, maybe, but ultimately he has the pace. I mean, he hasn't been shy of saying that he wants to try and hit 160 one day. That's like a golden dream of his. So let's see how fast he can get. He's already bowling in the 150s, and it's important player for our domestic system. Okay, let's move on. We now have the Lions. I was disappointed by the Lions last season. I really thought that they were going to do a lot better than they did in all competitions. Oh yes, they did do very well. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, of course, winning trophies, but I thought they would have done better in the 4-day competitions, particularly. That was a competition I was a bit disappointed with them about, because of the way they started and the talent that they had in their side. Now we've got Bjorn Fortuin, Vian Mulder, Lutus Pamla, Chanti Rapulana, Rickleton, Richards, Hendricks, Dominic, that is, Sasanda Magala, Sipoto, Yusuf. Cody Yusuf is someone of a massive talent that we've been speaking about quite a bit, especially Werner has been speaking a lot about him on this particular show. Which of Van Buren, a very talented player, I have high hopes for him. Levitt Manje, we've got Dwayne Olivier, Evan Jones. A lot of people have been asking where he is. Now you know. I mean, he was in the squad last season, but now you know where he is. Cameron Dalport and Bukaku. Bukaku's a player, interesting. And then you've got your national contracted players, which we know: Timba, Riza, KG, and Rasi. But Tradi Bukaku is a player that I want to talk about quickly. Someone that I think hasn't fully reached his full potential yet. I saw him kind of lose the enthusiasm at Western Province or at the Cobras. Didn't have that same fight and fire in his eyes like when he signed. I don't know what went wrong. And obviously coming over from the Warriors and then moving to the massive franchise like the Lions, where quite a few people moved over, like the likes of Sasanda Magala, Lutu Supamla, all in the same time, all moving over to the Lions. And then Bukaku also making that switch. So we haven't necessarily seen him play a lot of cricket, and I'm actually a bit worried about that because of the talent that they have in their lineup. He might not see as many games as I feel that he should be getting at this time. So, but there's a lot of talent. Obviously, Joshua Richards as well is someone that I'm a big fan of. I like his attitude. I like his mentality. I like his approach to the game and how much it means to him. He hates losing and he hates going out. So, and I like that in a player. So, yeah, those are just a couple of the guys that I maybe want to mention. The other guys are kind of straightforward. But Werner, I think you're a lot more closer to the Lions, I would say. What's your thoughts on them?
I'd say Mpo is a lot closer to the Lions. He even wants their new nice t-shirts
Yeah, I mean,
that they're
Poe's
rocking.
inside the Lions, like he's inside the
Yeah,
Lions' belly. I wouldn't say that he's close to the Lions. I would say he's right
yeah,
inside.
he is a lion at heart. He was also very disappointed that the Lions didn't manage to win the 4-day competition last year after being so far ahead. The Titans coming back and sneaking it
Yeah,
at the in the end. He kept saying about the all the main guys had to go to the Proteas, so Duan Ulifir went, and then Magala went for T20 series, and Luther Supamla went, and so it kind of deprived them of those. So maybe if something similar to that happens, maybe that's where Bakako will get his opportunities to step up, because there is a lot of Protea players in that broader squad and in the national contract squad, or of the national contracted players as well. So maybe that is where he will get his opportunity. I also think Mitchell van Buren has a lot of promise. He's one of the few domestic players that does have that sort of aggressive way of going about it. He has a fairly high strike rate in T20s, can get going pretty quickly. I like the look of Evan Jones as well. I think he will bring some balance to them as well, because I think they lost a bit of that balance last season, the Lions, because of Delano
They
Potgieter
sold
moving
everybody. And Michal.
and Michal the season before, and so they lost a lot of that balance. And maybe Evan Jones will bring a bit of that balance back. I saw today he played obviously against that Namibia side at that mini tournament that started today, and so he did pretty
Okay.
well. I think he got 22 of 17, and he took 2 for 12 or something along those lines. So it's good to bring some balance to the side as well. But obviously, still a pretty strong side of the Lions, strong as always. Um, yeah, so I think they have most of their bases covered. I think Bjorn Fortuin lends a lot of balance to them as well. Just he can bowl at any time of the match. Um, Unfortunate not to be playing for the Proteas right now, so I'd say the Lions are pretty chuffed to have him.
Yeah, okay, let's move on. We've got the Rocks. Peter Malan, Ismail Khafildin, Feriska Adams, Yonka Mahima, Sayabonga Mahima, Ruan de Blanche, Imran Manak, Sean van Berg, Claire Fortuin, Aishul Kluti. I'm hoping that he has an injury-free season this season. He was someone that I've always spoken highly of because I saw him at
That's
the
his Achilles
Kamajula.
heel.
Yeah, and he got an injury after that Kamajula week, and then he got some games and game time again. Then he got injured again. So I'm hoping that he gets a full season. Hardest Yoon, good to see that he's remained there. Michael Copeland, Stian van Zyl, Gumede. It's very difficult for me to pronounce the name properly. I need to learn how to do that one properly. Chlomlo Hanabe, who I have heard great things about. I heard that he's I mean, a very close friend of the channel. Ezra Pool has worked with him as a wicketkeeper. And Fahan Biadin obviously going over to the Rocks. A massive signing for them because I did think they needed like uh, an extra finisher if Christian Jonker wasn't available. But now that you have Christian Jonker and Fahan Biadin, can be quite a devastating bottom order of the batting lineup. And then Yanaman Malan, the national contracted player, looking quite solid. I mean, keeping majority of their team intact. I'm not losing too many players over there, and also I haven't really added too much to it, um, which is nice. Also to keep that consistency going and try to have a better season than they had last season. I mean, they've had a lot of moments, a lot of good moments. Obviously, the T20 competition is very important for franchise like the Rocks because after winning the Mzansi Super League, you obviously also want to win the T20 competitions as well. But I really thought that in the 4-day competition is where they would prosper. I thought with Peter Malan's addition, Yanaman Malan now batting at 4, I thought that they really would. I'm hoping that Ruanta Blanche also is someone that can really, kickstart his career and really show what he's capable of as a batter. So yeah, a lot of good talent and a lot of good, and Mikey Copeland as well. I think it was a wake up call for him last season. I think in seeing what senior cricket is really about. He struggled, got a lot of ducks last season in different formats, and he
He
was
might
really
he might
struggling.
have to he might have to play without those glasses this season. Maybe play with his eyes open and nothing nothing in his eyes. So yeah, it's a it's interesting, right? So it's they won the T20 competition, if I remember correctly, with Peter Malan like leading them there. I don't think anybody really saw it coming that they would be the team winning that
No,
competition. So they outperformed there, but then underperformed in the other tournaments. So
where they should have
it
done
will be,
well.
yeah. So I also thought that they would be do a lot better in the Red Bull format. Maybe this season things start to click for them. Yeah, as you said, they maintain most of their players. Good addition with Bernardine still going strong. It feels like that guy has been playing forever.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so Michael Copeland, hopefully he's going to have a good season. Obviously, I'm sure he's worked on a few things. He knows the step up is a bit more maybe than he initially thought. So it definitely is an eye opener for him as well. And I'm also really excited about Klute. I hope he's same as Klute, Ntanzi, Gerald Couture. I want all of them to have injury-free seasons, to see what they can do, because they're all express pace, and it's so good to see, and it really brings a different element to his side. So I hope all of them stay injury-free.
It would be so amazing for them to come through as a unit. They're all similar ages. It would be so nice for them to come through as a group together. It would be awesome to see them um, together as a unit. I mean, they exceptionally fast and pacey. They just need to find a way now to sustain it and to stay injury free. It's hard. Okay, got the Warriors. Oh, I have a very soft spot for the Warriors. Always have. Don't know why. I just always have had. I've always had good relationship with the players over there, and yeah, I don't know. I've always had a soft spot. Let's leave it there. Okay, then we've got Matthew Britsky. Big season for him. Vian Lubbe had an excellent first season for them. Sinetembe Klashile, Clinton Stierman, Marco Jansen, Nabe as well. Mti Nawe, Nabe, Lasiba and Guepe again. Rudy second. Kona Manyaka, Diego Rozier, Jordan Herman, which Werner obviously spoke about earlier on. And Dwandwa is still there. Tristan Stubbs, Bayers Swanepoel, Ziad Abrams, and Khodise Molefe. That's a massive thing there, that they've added Ziad Abrams and Khodise Molefe to their group, as well as Bayers Swanepoel. I think that those are massive, exciting additions to the team, as well as Andrich Nokia, obviously, the national contracted player. But those last three names those last four names, you could possibly say, even with Jordan Herman as well, a very exciting team building over there at the Warriors. I mean, they've been brewing, I would say. They were competitive throughout the tournament in every single facet of in every single format. And I think they would have been a little bit upset about their performance. I think they would have hoped that they could have picked up at least one trophy last season or get into more finals. They normally are that team that always are competing. But what I love about it is the freedom that they play with. I think Robbie P has spoken about it quite a bit. The players have spoken about it to myself as well on this channel. But the freedom that they're allowed to play with, and that has made them a completely different players. So I like that. What they've done there with the young additions that they've added to the Warriors team as well. So, what's your thoughts on the Warriors team there, Werner?
Yeah, very young and very exciting squad. I'd love the approach they've playing with, especially in the T20 format. Very fearless type of approach, going all guns blazing. I just think that where they have had their shortcomings is with the bowling. So they've been able to put on big scores. They've had the good platform of Jan Libbe and Brietska opening, setting the tone. Tristan Stubbs finishing things off for them. Siba Nguepe has been very good the last couple of seasons as well. So they've really shown a lot of Diego Rosier as well. Also had an excellent season last season. So they've had a very good call there in the middle with the batting. It's mostly come down to the bowling that's been the problem. So hopefully they've tried to address it this season. I liked some of the additions like Bayer Swanepoel. It's always good to see, in this case, second division players coming up to a first division side, getting an opportunity to get more, I don't know, be more in the public eye, sort of get more TV time, if you want to call it like that. More high pressure type of games, but um, better competition as well. So it should be good for him, and all of those guys coming through. So I'm excited to watch the Warriors, especially the way they bat. I'm just hoping that their bowling this season can complement the batters so that they can bring an all-round game. Because if the bowlers can complement the way that they batted last season, I think they will go far.
I mean, I'm going
And
to talk
and
about.
sorry, and I just one more thing. I also expect to see Tristan Stubbs more in the 4-day competition as well this season.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get to see him really get like a full season of batting there, and hopefully not like at 7.
Mm. Yeah, and Khadisa Malefe is an interesting one because I've tracked his career for a long time. I think he took 23 wickets in the Kyle week one season, and then kind of went missing after that. Struggled to get into first teams. I like the fact that he's gone to a team where Robbie P is. I think Robbie P is the right person to guide him because I feel there are similarities in their personality. I feel they both back themselves. They're very confident in their abilities and they have an aggression about them, which I like. Silent guys, but have a passionate, silent aggression about them, and I like that in a player, And I think that Robbie P could really maybe give Khadisa Malefe the push that he's always needed in his career. I feel. I just think he needed a chance a chance and to be backed by someone under the right pressures. Hopefully he does have a great season this season. I'm really hoping that he does. Such a talented off spinner. I hope that he does get an opportunity to show what he's capable of. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go quickly, briefly through the Division Two teams. I have them up on the screen here for you guys, so you can have a look. I'm not gonna we're not gonna dive in too deep on every single player, but I will read them out to you so that you can see. We've got in Northern Cape Heat, even though it doesn't look like a H. But anyway, unless there's something on there's something on my screen.
Yeah, it looks
Grant,
like an H to me.
there's something on my screen. Grant Thompson, interesting one. Hannaful Yoon. I don't know a lot of some of these players, guys. I don't obviously know all of them. I'm going to try and learn more about these players, of course. It's impossible for me to know every single player in the whole world of cricket or whole of South African cricket. And as Kim, we've got Mohale, we've got Andrew Rasamene, we've got Johan van Dijk, Rivaldo Munsami, Victor Mahlangu, Kelly Smuts, Tsepo Ntule, and Jason Oakes. We know quite a bit about Kelly Smuts and Tsepo Ntule and Jason Oakes over there. We've seen them, and Rivaldo Munsami as well is a name that has popped up a lot in South African domestic cricket. Now, obviously, Grant Thompson is someone that is quite famous as well. And
And
Mohale.
sorry, Johan van Dijk was the one with
And
the express pace in the T20
yeah.
knockout competition. I would have loved to see him get a Division One side somewhere, but maybe it will still come.
Then we've got the Tuskers over here. Unfortunate that Stephen Tate didn't get an opportunity to play and at the Warriors as much with injuries and everything that happened there. But at the Tuskers now, I'm Jonathan Van Dier. We've got Cameron Shackleton. We've got Kirtland Manikam. We've got Kumalu over here, Tamasanka Kumalu, Malcolm Nuffel, which is obviously our biased friend. We always tease him about it. Andile Mechletwe. How do I pronounce that one, Werner? And
You're asking the wrong
Alandile
person.
Chletiwa, I think it is. Keith Dudgeon, Michael Erlang, which is someone that was spoken about highly in the past, and we and did have a very good season last season, and we want him to continue that. And then Tian Kukumur, a friend of the channel, and Andile Mokhane, who is a very talented player as well. Anything you want to mention over there? Obviously, a new coach as well. Interesting there to see that.
Yeah, I think they'll be glad to have Stefan Tate there. Yeah, they have a fairly balanced side as well. I also don't know all the names. I do know Erlang had a very good season last season, so I think you should continue with that as well. But yeah, I can't say I probably half of those names I do not know. So I know
Yeah.
Dudgeon has been very good. I think he was very good for the Dolphins for a while as well, but he didn't get the
Yeah.
opportunities. Malcolm Nofel obviously now back and playing for them. So and Jonathan Van Dier has been all over the country. So hopefully he finds his feet.
He always seems to find a gig though. Six and Girl
Yeah.
Garden Route Badges, probably one of the worst names. Sorry guys, one of the worst names.
Yeah. Spent half of the show just pronouncing the name.
Yeah, player couple. We've got Matthew Christensen, a very talented player. Hanno Kotze, also a very good player. Jedley Fambricis, Jean Duplessis, we obviously know very captain material there. Andre Malan, Unke Nyako. A lot of the Western Province players from previous seasons you would see pop up here, like Unke Nyako as well was with the Cobras, and then now he's with SWD. Sean Whitehead, Marcelo Pitt, Mintu Mayiza Herschel America, who is a very exciting player as well. We saw him in the T20 knockout competition. A lot of people want to see him get a contract in the SA20 competition. Then we've got the Eastern Cape Inyati, Nunalele Yika, very talented player. I've seen him play already in the under 19 division. I think a very very talented, very accurate bowler. I think if it is him that I'm thinking of. Malika, we've got Clayton Bosch. I don't know if he's related to the other Bosch, Bosches, but another Bosch in the mix. Papama Fojelwa, Jason Niemand, very talented player as well. I'm hoping that he can get a breakthrough, man. I mean, I watched him. He can bat for hours, this boy. When he puts his mind into it and he starts batting, he can bat. He can frustrate you because he bats for hours. Marco Marezia, Thomas Carver is here. Gideon Peters. I really thought Gideon Peters was going to break through the season after he had a very good Kamajolo week, and I thought it would be a season where he breaks through, and he didn't as I thought he would. Jerry Nkolo, we have Josh van Heerden, very exciting player as well there. Jay de Klerk now with Eastern Cape now. I was hoping that he would break through in the Warriors setup. Joshua Dodd, not Joshua Daw, and Sinavoya, Sinavuyo Ntutwana. I must learn, guys. We need someone to come on here and help me with these names, guys. I need to learn how to be better at it. Really, really, really do. Like a lot of people struggle to pronounce my name. I shouldn't. I should actually become better. Then we've got Limpopo and Mpumalanga as well. Just remember that these two teams don't count for first class games. So unfortunately, that sucks. But they will be in the tournament, and you'll see quite a few great players over there. The ones that stand out in Mpumalanga, I'm not going to read out all the names now because it's coming closer to the show, but Ruben Herman is someone that stands out for me there in Mpumalanga. Yuri Snyman is someone that we know from the past. Mohammed Mayat is a very talented player. Anybody over there that you want to mention?
Yeah, no, I also Ruben Armon is also the one stands out for me. Good left-handed batter, and Yuri Snyman. Those are probably the two main ones for me. But as always, I'd love to see new guys coming through and impressing.
Yeah. Same with Limpopo province. Not a lot of players that I necessarily recognize over here either. Besides Ruan Hasbrook, who obviously showed what he can do in the past. I think for the Lions it is, Werner?
Yes, he played at the Lions. He was all sort of a stopgap type of player for them. Brought him in when they needed to fill a gap. Bowled some off spin, kept batted. It's something of everything.
Mm-hmm. And then at Eastern Storm, Shane Dadswell obviously stands out. You know about his record that he set. We've got Sumalani as well, another Sumalani. Mangaliso Mosekhle is actually playing.
He's also everywhere. Mosekhle and Van Der have traveled the whole country.
Yeah, yeah. Cabello Sukakane also to a degree has done that too. As he tried to find a place where he can sit and perform consistently. Danny Rousseau and Zwane. So that's the Division 2 players. Unfortunately, not a lot of under 19 names that stood out at that World Cup that we may be thinking of that necessarily stood out to me. I was hoping that we're going to see a lot of Division 2 teams pick them up, but maybe they've got academy contracts or other contracts that are also available too, which is a new thing that we
some
also
of
have.
them. Some of them have academy contracts. Like I think Matthew Boast has an academy contract at the Titans, and who else? There was a couple I saw. I think Ronan Herman might have is with the Lions, and but yeah. So and then which Ardis Kutzer is at the Dragons. I think some of the academy contracts, but yeah. So unfortunately, not everyone makes it either. It's a tough pill to swallow. You could see 11 players performing well at the Under-19 World Cup, that doesn't mean all 11 of them is going to make it break into the domestic system and do well. That's
Mm.
the unfortunate reality.
And also remember, a lot of those under 19 players were very young as well, 16, 17, not actually 18 yet. So they're still at school.
Yeah,
So,
somebody like Mapaka was
mm,
15 at the World Cup. He's only 16 now, doing very well with Stithians. Man, that side is crazy right now. There are some players out there, and I think the one good thing is what you guys will see is that the under 90s will compete in the Division Two T20 Knockout Cup. So I don't know. Hopefully, they will have it on YouTube, on Pitch Vision or something, so that we will be able to go
yeah.
and watch that, because you'll see quite a few of those players that were in the under 19 World Cup at the beginning of the year will still be part of that side. Somebody like a Parker and quite a few of them actually. A few new guys coming through, Richard Selatuane, was very exciting. Quite a few exciting guys there. So hopefully we will be able to see them in some way. That I don't think it will be televised probably because it's a Division Two game, but hopefully it will be on Supersport's YouTube page or something.
Hopefully they do stream it because I think they did. I think they did actually stream the last time when East Under 19 played. I think I watched the game of them live actually on TV. So I hope they do it. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to do all the things that you need to do. Subscribe to the channel, to the magazine, like, comment, share, get involved with the Patreon account. All the links are in the description. Also, go to clickerfanaticsmag.com for updates. Thanks a lot for watching. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another. Probably we'll do a Q&A session tomorrow because it's on a Friday. So stay tuned for that. We will put up something on Instagram so you guys can add your questions there if you want to get your questions in before the time. Otherwise, just come into the live chat and give your questions to me in the live chat and we answer them on the show. It doesn't have to be only cricket related. If you want to ask other questions too, you may, and I'll see if I can answer them. But it's just a light-hearted Q&A session. If anything major happens within the news, we will also talk about that first and foremost before we get the show started. But it's mainly going to be a show for the fans where you guys get to ask us questions and we answer it. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Thank you, Verna, and everybody out there that watched. Peace.